That must be registration. Okay. So is there anyone here that would like to address council in the first 15 minutes? We still have a few minutes left. We permit up to 5 minutes per resident. There being none, then we'll wait.
Okay, good evening and welcome to the council meeting of the town of Newmarket on Monday, May the 16th, 2016. All members of council are present with the exception of councillors Hempin and Broom-Pumley, and Mayor Van Bynen is presiding.
Thank you very much, Mr. Clerk. There are no public notices. Mr. Shelton, any additions to the, or corrections to the agenda?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, we do have an addition to the agenda. It is a deputation request by Mr. Ted Hield of 935 Creekfront Way, and it's respecting the minute of the public meeting of May the 9th, 2016, respecting the clock tower proposal.
Okay. Thank you. Could I have a motion, please, to amend the agenda? Councillor Sponga, Councillor Bizantz. All those in favor? That is carried. Electronic voting tonight. Councillor Twinney? Electronic voting tonight. That is carried. Thank you. Deputation request then from Mr. Hield. Mr. Hield, we permit up to 5 minutes.
Mayor Van, excuse me, Mayor Van Bynen and council members, my name is Ted Hield, and I would like to comment on the proposed minutes of the May 9th public meeting. While I understand that preparing concise and accurate summaries following a public meeting can be a time-consuming and onerous task, it is my respectful submission that when the minutes include a summary of the essence of a deputation, it is only fair and proper to provide a copy of the summary to each presenter for consideration prior to publication. In that way, anyone who wishes to request revisions to a summary of their public deputation is provided the opportunity to do so prior to council approving the minutes for the official record. Alternatively, the minutes could simply contain, beside the name of each presenter, a brief statement of the position taken for or against a matter before council. In some, but not all cases, that is already being done in the proposed minutes that are before you. In the interest of expediency, perhaps this would be a simpler, more cost-effective, and more objective way to record in the minutes that a person has made a deputation. If a written and/or electronic copy of a deputation is provided for the public record, then there could be a link beside each presenter's name and the position taken, which could be accessed by anyone wishing to review the entire content of the deputation. With respect, I hold the opinion that the proposed minutes of the May 9 public meeting contain deficiencies, including inaccuracies, omissions of main talking points, and/or misstatements which should be corrected. I am suggesting that staff review the present process of preparing summaries of deputations from the public and subsequently make recommendations to council regarding appropriate procedural changes, not only for greater clarity, but also to avoid in future unnecessary friction between the town and its citizens. I respectfully request that you, Mr. Mayor, and council members defer putting the proposed minutes of the May 9, 2016 public meeting now before you on the official record until such time as all persons referenced in the minutes have been given the opportunity to request and receive revisions if warranted. Those are my respectful submissions.
Thank you. Any questions of clarification? Have a motion to receive the deputation. Councillor Vague, Councillor Swan. All those in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Our next item is presentations. I'll call on Beth Senior, curator of the Elman Campbell Museum, and members of council to present the 2016 High School Civic Art Contest Award recipients. Beth? And if members of council could come to the inner circle.
No, that's okay. Okay, well, it gives me great pleasure to be able to present the winners of this year's high school art contest. This is the 11th year that the town of Newmarket has hosted an art contest for the high schools. Local high schools were invited to contribute 6 to 10 works each in a variety of categories, and the results are currently on view in the halls at the municipal office here until the 20th of May. And I can point out that our 4 first-place winners are just outside the doors here. The works displayed are testament to the incredible talent that exists in our schools. Our judging panel was made up of local artists, and they put much thought and deliberation into their choices. The decisions were tough sometimes, but the judges arrived at the results that are about to be announced. First place winners will be called first, followed by honorable mentions. We would like to thank all of our participants, and I hope that they will find a way to express their incredible talent in their future lives and careers. And I would ask the winners, after they meet the members of council and the mayor, if they would please just stand off to the side, and when everyone has received their awards, we could take a group photo with everybody. So in the acrylic and oil category, the winner is The Portrait of Donald Trump by Max Warner, Newmarket High School. If Max could come up. You can meet the mayors and mayor and council.
Yeah, very good.
Thank you very
I've got
much.
an envelope for you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. That was a great team. Thank you very much.
In the dry medium category, the winner was Benji by Leanne Hollingsworth, Huron Heights Secondary School. Is there one here? In the mixed media category, the winner is Unclean Spirit by Reese Wolf, Newmarket High School. And in the watercolor category, the winner is Strength by Camille Kiffin, Pickering College. And now for our honorable mentions. Old Man by Regan Sargent in the acrylic and oil category from Huron Heights Secondary School. In the dry medium category, our honorable mention goes to Stevie Nicks by Nathan Whitefield, Huron Heights Secondary School. In mixed media, honorable mention goes to Tyler the Creator by Julie Seary, Huron Heights Secondary School. Okay, Julie wasn't able to make it. In photography, honorable mention goes to Sun in Your Eyes by Gabby Macias, Pickering College, and unfortunately Gabby is not able to be with us this evening. And in the watercolor category, honorable mention goes to Red by Karen G., Pickering College. So those are our winners and honorable mentions.
Come around the front. Come around the front here and we'll get a picture of you.
1, 2, 3. One, two,
All right, thanks again. Congratulations. Well, if the audience hasn't already had an opportunity, we can still have a look at some of the artwork that's on display. It's amazing the talent that we have in our schools. And I want to thank Beth for all of her work in organizing this. And I believe the municipality buys the top one or two of them. I know. Okay. We've received our deputation. First item is the approval of minutes, special council meeting on April 25th. Could I have a motion, please, with respect to those minutes? Any corrections? Councillor Sponga, Councillor Bazance, all those in favor? Councillor Sponga? Next item then is the special council closed session of April 25th. A motion, please, with respect to those minutes. Any corrections? Councillor Twinney, Councillor Kerwin? All those in favor? Just to summarize that council did meet on April 25th, and the reason the meeting was closed is that it related to a property matter, and I believe the recommendations will be dealt with as part of the council meeting. That's correct. Okay. We're now into accounts. Next is item number 4.
Yeah, because it was the special meeting, special council, and then the regular council.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's what the closed session was about.
Next item is the council minutes of April the 25th. Are there any corrections? Can I have a motion, please? Councillor Kerwin, Councillor Vague. All those in favor? Reports by regional representatives. Regional Councillor.
Yeah, thanks very much, Mr. Mayor. There's a couple of items I'd like to just highlight tonight for members of the public and members of council from York Region. The one is that council recently passed through committee an energy and conservation and demand management plan update. The region does this on a regular basis. However, this was more significant because this was the first year in which the region, as a corporation, so for the corporation itself, not for the public, but for the corporation, set some clear emission targets. There's always been a number of very good and important work going on, both environmentally in terms of greening the region and tree planting to other areas, but this is the first time that these are being applied. And the forecasts go out as far as 2051, in which they're targeting a 47% reduction over, I believe it's 2014. Yes, 2014 is the base year. A great deal of the emissions at York Region are buses. And of course, that's a bit of a catch-22 because those buses are also meaning less vehicular traffic. So it's kind of almost an investment in emissions to avoid greater emissions. But why this is important is because the greatest portion of emissions at the region comes through the transit fleet. That means that advances in technology and fuels will be the driver there. And so assuming by 2051, which I think is an extremely safe assumption, that buses by then will be fully electric, I would suspect it'll be sometime before that even. That will account for a significant portion of that reduction strategy. But there is a full strategy that can be seen online at york.ca. Also, I just want to bring to people's attention, and I think this is quite important, that the province is proposing changes to several key areas of legislation. The growth plan for the Greater Golden Horseshoe, the Greenbelt Plan, the Oak Ridges Moraine Conservation Plan, and the Niagara Escarpment Plan. They're being looked at all at one time. This is most significant because there is a goal to, at least at this point, and there is public feedback that's ongoing and feedback from levels of government, including the region, but to grow the Greenbelt. Part of doing that, though, involves increased intensification. So the province is currently afloat at this point, and to put in perspective, the region's official plan currently targets 40% intensification within the built boundary or in the established areas. So 40% meaning anything from townhomes up to multi-story. But the intensification really means it's inside the built boundary. It's not expanding into farm fields. It's not what is often commonly called sprawl. So the official plan at the region and the provincial guidelines at this point targeted 40% intensification. The region recently had a debate as recent as a few months ago about whether to move that to 45% or keep it at 40%. And the province has come in saying that they're targeting, although they're receiving feedback, they're targeting 60%. So this is a significant move. And part of the debate that's occurring is, many people, most people, and myself included, believe that that kind of intensification can create cost efficiencies, for municipalities, can be more environmentally sustainable, more sustainable in many ways, and create transit-supported communities. The question is whether the demand is there for that kind of built form to that level. And so ensuring that you're balancing policy changes like that against market demands as you move forward is crucial. And so the region will be inputting into that process to ensure that we're partnering to be as sustainable as we possibly can, but while recognizing the marketplace and recognizing what the residents in our communities want. And so it'll be an interesting dialogue and discussion for the province, for the region of York, and for the many municipalities in the GTA as they move towards understanding these policy directions and inputting into that process. Thank you.
Councillor Kerwin.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, to Regional Councillor Taylor. With regard to either YRT or Viva, how long is the driver allowed to idle the bus? Sit there just idling the bus when the bus is not moving? Because this is one of the major complaints I get from the residents of Ward 2 is the idling of either York Region Transit buses or Viva, just sitting there idling. How long are they allowed to do that?
Maybe I can answer that since I'm on transit, or rapid transit. The buses are required to comply with our bylaws, David. Now, I did receive a concern from a resident, and we've asked York Region to investigate that concern and
so you've got the same one that I
same email, yeah.
Okay.
And so what we thought we'd send a copy over to both you and John, since you were engaged in that.
Right.
We've asked York Region to find out what the issue is and have the discussion with the appropriate people. But they are expected to comply with our idling bylaw, of course. Okay. And they have an additional policy in addition to that, which is 3 minutes. Okay. Good. Okay. So if there's non-compliance, of course, we want to know, and we'll share that.
The other concerns that residents have is the double busing on Davis Drive. I mean, we have the Rapid Way by Viva, and then we have York Region buses on Davis Drive as well. Two lines running parallel, and I've ridden them both, and you get where you're going maybe 30 seconds earlier on one than on the other. Why do we need two buses running on Davis Drive, and both of them empty? At both times, I'm the only guy on either one of the buses. Why are we running empty buses? I mean, if your emission is through your transit service, then something has to happen. I mean, the costs are becoming onerous. And the regional portion of my tax bill is 44%. And they have an enormous debt now, way over $2 billion. Why are we continuing to run empty buses? A parallel line. I think the residents need an answer.
Well, there's a couple of things that are happening on the Davis Drive corridor. Number one is that the Viva Next rapid transit still needs to mature, and both those buses serve different purposes. Some have more frequent stops than the Viva, so they're intended to have different purposes. And it's a matter of waiting for the system to mature, getting enough data. And I believe, Mr. Sheldon, we're starting in January? Or when are we starting our hub study? So that's all going to be part of how can we best integrate, because it's not just Viva Next, it's GO, it's Viva Next, it's YRT as well. So all of that is going to be under review, but it's the beginning of a system that's starting to mature.
Okay.
Thank you.
And the other question is, why are some of the buses diesel? Which is do we have any diesel buses?
I can't speak to that in terms of what the mix is, but I'm sure that
Okay.
if you have the question, I'll find out what the answer is from the YRT.
But just in sum, there's becoming more and more concerns of the empty buses, particularly in Newmarket, whether it's on Davis Drive or running through residential streets. And as taxes are increasing, and 44% of that tax bill that we send out to the residents is from the region, all of us have to begin to be cognizant of wastage, Mr. Mayor.
Yep. And I will say to you that YRT does review their bus loads and their bus routes, and they do have hurdle rates that they're looking for. And I can share all of that information with you if you'd like the details of it. I don't have it available to me now. But I think the important step forward will be the hub study that we will have and how can we best integrate that. And they are looking at some options, which is zone busing, and all of those items are in the development stages, Dave, but I can give you more details on that. John, did you want to talk that further?
Yeah, I'd love to add some thoughts to it. I agree with Councillor Kerwin that we have to be very cognizant of costs, and of course, as we know, that it's over $6 billion are lost annually in the GTA to congestion. With slowly becoming the third largest population center in North America, we can choose to continue to vilify buses, or we can realize that if we don't invest in transit 20 years from now, we are going to lose 10 and 15 and $20 billion to congestion. And so on Davis Drive, not the most heavily used, but when you look at number 7, and if you want to see the future of Davis Drive, look at Highway 7 and see how busy it is and see those buses moving large numbers of people quickly. Having said that, we built Davis Drive partially for the future. People say they like politicians to think beyond the next election. Well, we're doing that, and we're investing in the future. And what I'd like to tell you, and I think it's incredibly important to understand, is that while people will say the buses are empty, Viva, this last year alone, had 21 million boardings, and they increased by 3 to 4% annually. Every year, year over year. On top of that, Davis Drive, the yellow line on Davis Drive alone, that's all I'm talking about right now, while proclaimed to be empty, has 1,000 boardings a day on weekdays. And this is just opened, and we're not 10 years from now. So we need to think well into the future. We have to plan for communities that work, that aren't congested, and where people can get around and goods can get around. And you need to sometimes invest a little in advance, and we're doing that. And I think that while people like to say empty buses, the facts, and the facts are important, speak otherwise. 21 million annual rides throughout the region every year, 1,000 per day on Viva Yellow on Davis Drive, Monday through Friday right now, and we really built that for 10 years from now. So let's see what the boardings are like a decade from now. Thank you.
Thank you. The other...
Just a question on that. Never would I vilify public transit. In fact, I use it. However, in 2015, to the regional councillor, what was the subsidy for Viva and for York Region Transit? What percent? Was it a 60% tax subsidy?
Yes, roughly.
60%.
How much do we subsidize recreation by?
50.
In any event,
We invest a lot.
But
I
the
think-
bottom, all I'm saying, Regional Councillor, is that the tax burden on the property taxpayer is getting heavier and heavier, and people are changing their customs to meet those tax bills. And that is taking in lodgers, boarders, renting out their basements to meet those tax bills. So we're changing, and maybe those people will ride those transit systems because our area is becoming denser in population. I see it all the time on Gorham Street. The swing for investors to buy houses that they're converting into boarding or tenement houses. So maybe those people will ride the transit system. But we're driving the individual homeowner out of the market, and fewer people will be homeowners. And people cannot sustain the continued growth in the property tax. And I say that now.
just one final observation as well with respect to Viva Next, is we need to remember as well that Viva Next is at the very end of the line, at the beginning of the line, and if your bus was full, then you'd be in trouble by the time you get to Aurora. So there are some geographic constraints on that as well.
Yeah, I'd like to just add.
Okay, all right.
Obviously, we all are very sensitive to tax increases and the burden on the taxpayer. But again, if we're talking about York Region and the cost of transit, I'll just point out that York Region's tax increase for the last 5 years has been lower than the tax increase at this table. So if we're talking about tax increases and linking it to transit, then I think we have to think, well, what's going on at all tables? Keeping in mind that all those years, they were in or around cost of living, which is typical for communities across the GTA. And so I think we're doing our best to keep taxes in line and still provide the services that we need to provide to keep our community moving, to keep our goods moving, to keep a healthy economy. And so we'll continue to do the best we can under the circumstances. Absolutely, are we in challenging times? For sure. For sure. We have a lot to balance. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Bazans?
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Mayor, and I don't know if this is the appropriate time to ask the question or if it would come later under new business, but further to Regional Councillor's comments on the review of the Provincial Planning Act and growth plans and so forth, and apropos of our discussion, I think that you know, a lot of these issues and questions rest with making sure that we have well-founded growth plans and Planning Act provisions in place so that we have smart growth and that we can accommodate in a way that people can afford the growth that we're anticipated or expected to absorb. So although the Regional Councillor mentioned that the region will be responding in the consultation period, which I believe goes up until the September 30th, my question is whether Council will have the benefit of a summary of the salient points in the review that we could then have a look at and perhaps bring forward recommendations from the town of Newmarket into that consultation process.
John?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be able to, and the mayor and myself will be able to provide what's going on at the region in terms of the kinds of comments that are going back. And I suspect we'll see, you know, a committee well before it goes to council. So the minute we have it, we'll share the kinds of comments going forward. But the one thing I do, and I think I should have expressed more clearly earlier, is that the 60% intensification, while important to the GTA and has indirect repercussions on Newmarket, keep in mind that Newmarket's intensification rate is already exceeds 60% considerably. So remember, intensification is any type of built form, actually, but certainly even semis and et cetera, but any type of built form within the built boundary. And Newmarket's built boundary is essentially Newmarket. So everything that gets built goes towards that 80% intensification target in Newmarket. And so compared to many other communities, it doesn't have as much impact. Where it impacts us somewhat is through what happens in East Gwillimbury. There's 3 areas in the region, Vaughan, Markham, and East Gwillimbury, a tiny bit in King, but Vaughan, East Gwillimbury, and Markham, that have what they call white belt lands, which is where the more significant impact will be depending on the level of intensification. The lower the level of intensification, the more white belt lands or farmlands that will get developed as single-family housing. And so in East Gwillimbury, as that occurs or doesn't occur, the level to which it occurs, their growth obviously impacts Newmarket, our arteries, our roadways, our hospitals, our shopping centers, et cetera. So there's definitely an indirect effect, and we need to monitor that. So that's a long way of saying we'll get you the comments, but keep in mind, and this is more for the public, that the intensification targets that are being looked at, no matter high or low end, Newmarket already achieves those and will achieve them every year by the sheer nature of the fact that we're essentially a full build-out.
I believe there was some material that just crossed my desk this morning, and I thought it went to all members of council, that talked about the region's summary on the OMB reform. So some of that regional information is there, and Mr. Nohammer, perhaps planning could have a look at that and provide their comments, knowing that that's what we'd like to do. So we've covered a little bit of new business at the same time, but that information is available, and it would be good for the town of Newmarket to put their position forward and to have that informed with the region's perspective as well, so that's good.
I believe we did provide input into the first round of consultation as the town of Newmarket, so I think it would be beneficial if we could at least add our voice to whatever other comments are going in from the region. Okay.
I think a copy of that report was circulated to your department, Mr. Nohammer. If not, let me know in the morning, and I'll make sure that one. Okay, Councillor Sponga?
Yeah, I'm not sure if this relates to the same discussion, but will the region then have an opportunity to comment on some of the leapfrogging and the white belt areas that are being proposed for redevelopment in the Innisfil and West Gwillimbury area as well?
Yeah, I hadn't given it any thought. You're engaged in planning, John. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not now, but I was the past chair of planning, and we were already engaged at that point in this topic. So absolutely, in our and Councillor Sands alluded to it, we've already been had some rounds of input to the province from the region, and one of our constant themes and our most significant points we made just a few months ago when we submitted our last piece of input on all of this planning review that's going on was the fact that these kinds of targets and plans don't apply to Simcoe County, et cetera, and so you can contain sprawl and leapfrogging within the GTA and all of York regions captured by that, but it seems like there's no there's little or less, far less regard given to these areas where we're seeing. I mean, you go through Bradford and you can see the incredible growth that's taking on, and then Innisfil, and then so yeah, absolutely, and we are continually raising that point.
Thank you. No further questions, and we'll go forward to the committee report and the committee of the whole minutes of May the 9th. Are there any items that members wish to deal with individually? Councillor Twinney?
Yes, actually my notice of motion, which is item number, I don't think it has an item number actually. It's just my notice of motion, just a correction just in the wording.
Okay, all right, we'll deal with that. It's on page 34.
Correct.
Notice of motion A.
Yep. Do you want me to go
Why don't
ahead?
we correct it now and then we can deal
Sure,
with the minutes?
you know,
as
and it could very well be my fault of not explaining my notice of motion very well. Just to change the wording to, I'll be bringing forth a motion in the next scheduled committee of the whole with regards to the feasibility of enacting a bylaw that limits driving school vehicles on residential streets that are used by the MTO for driving examinations, and to license said driving school vehicles.
Capture that, Andrew? Okay, so we'll deal with that as an amendment.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Any others? Can I have a motion then to adopt these minutes by consent? Councillor Sponga, Councillor Begg. All those in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Next item is bylaws. Mr. Clerk?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, there are 3 bylaws for council's consideration. Bylaw 2016-22 is a part law control exemption bylaw related to Phase 7 of the countrywide homes development on Laker Court and Luckport. Bylaw 2016-23 is an exemption to the noise bylaw related to the Sacred Heart Catholic High School Relay for Life event, and that's being held on May 27th. And Bylaw 2016-24 appoints staff as provincial offenses and property standards officers in the town.
Does anyone wish to have any of the bylaws dealt with separately? Can I have a motion with respect to the bylaws, please? Councillor Kerwin, Councillor Twinney? All those in favor? And that carries. Next item then is notices of motion. Being none, any motions? Okay, announcements and community events. We'll start with Councillor Sponga.
Mr. Mayor. Thank you so much. Through you, Mr. Mayor. NEAC has been engaged in the Community Energy Plan, and at the last meeting of the Newmarket Environmental Advisory Committee, the committee reviewed the draft plan and supported the work of the Stakeholder Advisory Committee, understanding that there's a lot of that this is just a plan and it needs further analysis and an implementation plan. And we look forward on this work, dovetailing with regional and future regional and provincial policies in this area, specifically in areas of emission targets, official plans, and so forth. But we thought that the committee thought that the work was very exciting. We want to take the opportunity to thank regional council and the mayor, I believe, or regional council was appointed to the Stakeholder Advisory Committee, and of course Town of Newmarket staff and regional staff for their involvement. Also, and I believe that's coming to committee of the whole sometime soon. Is that correct, Mr. Mayor?
I think so.
Yeah. The annual, also, the Newmarket Environmental Advisory Committee is holding their annual garage sale. Join us Saturday, May 28th from 8 a.m. until noon at the Region of York parking lot, located at the corner of Yonge and Eagle Street at 17250 Yonge Street. And for those interested in selling their used items, please contact Petra, P-E-T-R-A, at Petra, P-E-T-R-A, _V, again, Petra_V at rogers.com or at 905-836-5932. Registration is $10 and participants need to bring their own tables. The event will be held rain or shine, so we hope all to see you there. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Bazance?
Thank you. On Wednesday, May 25th, from 5:30 till 8:30 p.m., come on out to our Touch a Truck event at the Newmarket Operations Center at 1275 Maple Hill Court. This hands-on event allows you to get up close and personal with vehicles of different sizes. Explore some of your favorite trucks, fire truck, Zamboni, backhoe, dump truck, and more.
Thank you. Regional Councillor.
Thanks very much. The town of Newmarket's holding another community open house Wednesday, May the 25th. This is at 1275 Maple Hill Court, which is our operations center off of Harry Walker Parkway. So that's May 25th from 5:30 to 8:30. Same time roughly and same place as Touch a Truck, so you can come out and touch a truck and touch a policy and ask some questions. Residents are invited to get involved by attending this open house. We're highlighting council strategic priorities, operating policies, and some of the town's plans for the future. I think the last one was quite a good success, and we had good engagement. So learn about what we do at the town and the future direction of the community on May the 25th from 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. at the Operations Center. And again, that's 1275 Maple Hill Court. Thank you.
Councillor Twinney?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Join us on Monday, May 30th for Smart Commute Central York's 10th anniversary of the annual Bike to Work Day at Newmarket Riverwalk Commons. This is taking place at 200 Doug Duncan Drive. Take action on climate change, leave your car at home, and ride your bike to work. Enjoy free continental breakfast, giveaways, prizes, and exhibits are there on your way to work. The event will kick off Bike to Month, which runs until June the 30th. And for further details, you can visit smartcommute.ca. Also, the Newmarket Heritage Art Contest 2016 is underway, and the town invites artists to submit original two-dimensional artwork inspired by Newmarket's heritage. Please submit your entries to the Recreation and Culture Department between May 30th and June the 3rd. Submission forms are available at the municipal office here at 395 Mulock Drive in the Recreation and Culture Department and online at newmarket.ca. For more information, please contact Beth Signard at 905-953-5314 and extension 2831. Thank you.
Councillor Kerwin.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Join me on Sunday, May 29th for the Upper Canada Mall Easter Seals Run Walk, founded by Joe Persicini. Over the past 40 years, this popular community event has become an indelible fixture in Newmarket, raising nearly $3 million to help children and youth with physical disabilities. The event takes place at Newmarket Riverwalk Commons, 200 Doug Duncan Drive, and there is a post-race party with food for athletes and games and activities for the whole family. More details are available at persiccinirun.org, and the registration is at 7 a.m. and the run begins at 8 a.m. That's early. At one time I missed one once. Not this, but I ended up late. But I did do it. This will be my 40th participation. One time I even did it in Edmonton with Joe Sponga and the late Larry Blight. So there's a lot of fun here. There's a lot of history here. I hope to see hundreds and hundreds of people to make this run a colossal success on May the 29th at the Riverwalk Commons. Thank you.
Councillor Vague.
Thank you. Well, we have coming up in Ward 1, coming up on Saturday, May 28th, the 15th annual Ward 1 Waste Disposal and Recycling event. This event will take place 8 o'clock, starting 8 o'clock in the morning, running to 12 noon at the South Parking Lot in the Magna Centre. And this is an opportunity for Ward 1 residents to empty their garage, their basement, the backyards of unwanted waste, and things they just wish to recycle. On site, we'll have the Salvation Army Thrift Store truck to take donations, and they'll be the first station there. We'll also have Artec Environmental for safe and secure e-waste disposal. We'll have Girls Inc. there to accept deposit bottles of all types. So this will be a bottle drive for Girls Inc. We also have paper shredding, and that's provided by Iron Mountain. Plus we have metal disposal bins, recyclable disposal bins, meaning cardboards, things like that, and waste disposal bins. So this will be an opportunity for Ward 1 residents, as I mentioned, to really declutter their homes in very useful ways. I should also say that this is only for Ward 1 residents, and people using this will be required to provide proof of address at the entrance. So this will be for Ward 1. And if you would like more information on this or available and wish to volunteer, they can contact me at tomvague@gmail.com or tvague@newmarket.ca, or give me a call at my home, 905-895-7095. Thank you.
Thank you. I know that baseball has pinch hitters, so I'll do Councillor Hempen's and Councillor Broom Plumley's announcements. The Newmarket Heritage... Okay, sorry, I'm sorry, Jane. All right, well then I'll do Councillor Broom Plumley's. Councillor Broom Plumley is having a Ward 6 residents drop-in one-on-one on Wednesday at the Newmarket Public Library. So it's an opportunity for you to come in and hear what's happening in the ward, and for more information, you're invited to contact her at 905-953-5323 or kbroomplumbly@newmarket.ca, and hopefully she'll be feeling well by then. The municipal offices are closed for Victoria Day, May 23rd, and will reopen on Tuesday, May 24th. And if anyone has anything that they wish to discuss with me, some recommendations on how we can make Newmarket even better, I will be at Mayor in the Square at the Farmers Market at the Riverwalk Commons on Saturday, May the 28th from 10 until noon. And our next council meeting is on Tuesday, June the 7th at 7 p.m. Any new business? Being none, there is no requirement for a closed session. Confirmatory bylaw. Councillor Sponga, Councillor Bazance. All those in favor? And a motion to adjourn. Councillor Kerwin, Councillor Twinney. Oh, we're still doing the confirmatory bylaw. This is when we get ahead of technology. My apologies. Yeah, we had more bandwidth. Yes. Okay, and that's carried. Good, thank you. I'm sorry, I must have got distracted when